Hello, Flosstube. This is Flosstube number 18, and it feels way overdue. I think I have filmed like every 2 weeks since I started, and this is the first time I think that I have gone past 2 weeks. It's been like 4, so it's been a lot. So, I'm Suki the Brown-Eyed Stitcher. Welcome to my little stitchy corner, and it's good to see you here. Whoever, didn't forget that I existed or something like that. I realized as I was preparing for this video that in my last video I was wearing this, and I am not about to change just because of that. But for all of you who are binge watching this channel, I'm looking out for you. So if you just watched my last video in which I'm wearing this, I put on a hat, some earrings, and I don't think I was wearing makeup last time, so I put something on. I did that just for all of you who are binge watching. Otherwise, I probably would have come here looking like the exact same as my last video. And I feel like this could get long. I don't actually have that many projects to show, but I got a lot of like talky things that I feel are going to come out and spew forth from my mouth today. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. So first, I have a finish. This is not even on Instagram yet because I finished it like 30 minutes ago. Like right before I was prepping to do this video, so I didn't have time yet to put it on Instagram. So, however, probably by the time you see this video, it'll already have been on Instagram. Anyway, it is June from Little House Needleworks Calendar Girl series. And I left the little bee and the beehive to the very end. They're so cute. Look at that little bee. It's so cute. And there she is. This is 28 count Country French Latte. Linen. You can see it definitely looks like a linen. It is 2/2. Yeah. June is the 6th month of the year, right? So now I have 6 of these done. And since I would have started them all in May, that means June, July, August, and a little bit of September. So just over 3 months, I have stitched 4 of these calendar girls. And that means I'm in a really good place to have this whole series finished by the end of the year, which would be really nice. So it's not necessarily a goal, it would just be really nice, and I think that that's going to happen. So it's more like a prediction than a goal. Okay, so I wanted to see about how many stitching days I was getting on the calendar girls. So I use these smalls as like I'm going to call them travel projects, but they're more like sitting and listening projects. So if I'm in a meeting or listening to a presentation or a lecture or a read aloud or like things like that, where I'm not really participating, there's not going to be any like questions for me to answer, things like that, I will use these and stitch. So I wanted to kind of just see how many like days I was getting. And I know some days I would get a good like 3 hours at various times in the day where I would be able to stitch on these, and other days it would be like 30 minutes. So a stitching day is take it for what it is. So March took me 9 days, April was 12, May took 8, and June took 13. I should also warn you, if possible, we'll try to cut out all the times that I cough in this video. But I don't know if it'll happen or if it won't. So I apologize if I'm just randomly coughing. I'm not trying to. I have a remnant cough, and I'm gonna talk about that later. I can't switch topics, I don't think. Anyway, June is done. And you go over there. It also means I might be drinking. This is my water bottle. It is 64 ounces. I try not to drink during videos, but my health requires it right now. Okay, so projects I've worked on in the past month. Obviously, besides that one. Bubble Bubble Chocolate Trouble. Artwork by Randall Spangler. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And it's so cute. It's big. Man. Okay. This is 25 count. Easy count. I have my paper right here. I just need to read it. This is 2 threads, 2/1, 10 stitch. I can do this. Okay, let's this. Does this show it to you? Yes, it does. All right. Excuse you. There we go. This is where I am. Okay, how many stitches, Suki? I put in 1,140 stitches since last time, and it's at 3.55%. So I know I was working across here. This is about halfway, and then I kind of went back and was just like filling it in. I don't know. And then I have these. I don't know what I was doing. I think I started to come in up here and was filling this way, but then I decided I wanted to get all the way down to the bottom of the sky, because I'm stitching all of like the sky background first. So everything above here and like outlining all of this stuff. So I obviously haven't, where am I? I obviously haven't reached the bottom of this yet, because this is like the first branch. That's up here, not down here. But I think that's what I was doing. So when I work on this again, who knows where I will be. Now I did look up what my yearly goal is on this, because I haven't met it yet. And I think I have just over 1,000 stitches. Oh wait, no, I can look it up right here. Yeah, I have about 1,100 stitches left to meet a yearly goal on this piece. And I think I really do want to finish my yearly goals on my full coverage. we'll see. We'll talk about this in a bit. Put this away, Suki. Okay. Next. This is Queen of the Night by Josephine Wall. Charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. We're off to a great start, guys. Okay. This is also 25 count, easy count, 2/1 tent stitch. This is my smallest Heaven and Earth design. But I'm actually quite happy with this. This is 1/4 of the way finished. 25.52. I love it. So 5,654 stitches got put into this. Okay, so I had done this page and then that page and then this page and then like I started this page and then I decided to work all the way to the corner, and then as you can see I totally changed what I was doing because I do that. Let's try all the things and just tell you about what I'm doing. But look at this moon. It's amazing. And I love the wisp through here. Totally love it. This part right up here, when you see it just like that, I really wasn't happy. It's like 2 colors and very obvious and didn't feel very blended. But I'm okay with it as a whole. Like when you see it back here, and you're only like 2 feet from it, so you're not even the standard like 3 feet away thing. But it does look, it looks better. My soul is soothed. It looks better. Okay, so I know what I was doing on this last. I was stitching in all of this color, sort of, which is 939. It is the, I think it's 939. Yes, 939. It is the most used color in this piece. So what I think if I stick with this, okay, I'll tell you what I was doing, but then next time I could say that I was doing something completely different. So I'm not saying this as in this is what I'm going to do moving forward. I'm just telling you what I did. What I was doing was stitching in 939 because I had the idea that then I would be able to kind of stitch anywhere if I decided to stitch anywhere, or if I wanted to do any kind of color completing. Because one thing that's obnoxious to me is that I put all of my threads on, what, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5 of these doohickeys. And as you can see, it looks really messy. It's just been in my, anyway. It takes a lot of time to flip through these. See, can't even just flip it. Maybe I shouldn't have filmed today. I feel like I'm in a mood that I've not presented on Flosstube before. Anyway, flip. It's annoying to flip it, or because there's threads on both sides, you can't even like turn it to the side easily. So it was taking just a lot of time to find my floss that I needed And then I was parking, and then when I was cutting ending threads and like putting them back on here, I have like this right here. What is this? 825. This is my unused thread. And this is, it looks like, I don't know, 8 or 9 different threads that were parked and then finished, and then they're here. Which then means when I started again, instead of this being the equivalent of like 3 strands that I could, like 3 separate threads that I could use to start with the loop method, I have to start all of these like bearing under. Anyway, it's annoying. It was annoying to me. So the idea was that going kind of one color at a time would reduce a lot of that. So it could be that every time I sit down to work on this piece, I pick a different color, but I did start with 939 because then it would kind of give me these anchoring points to be able to pick whatever color I wanted to stitch with. But it is 25% finished. Her face is somewhere in here. I think I already put the picture away, so I can't really remember. But it's pretty, and I like working on it. But I like working on just about all of my projects, so I shouldn't really say that about anyone in particular, like it's different from all the rest of my projects. Oh, I was about to put my notes in the bag. That's not going to work. Water break. Okay. Next project is Under the Sea. This is artwork by Doreen Jones, and it was a stitch along by Lakeside Needlecraft in 2017. You can buy the pattern in its entirety now, and it's about 76% done. So last time I know I had finished this turtle block, so now I'm working on the scuba diver, and I've brought in this green. I've done these 2 fishes, except this green fish needs the metallic put in it still. There's some of the sand coming up here, and then his head and his gear. That's it. That's all I've done. Oh, I think I did some of this orange stuff too. So it's this section, him, the scuba diver, and whatever is down here. This has 2 big animals, a lobster and a squid maybe, and then this has a giant clamshell where you can put like your initials and the date. And that's it. I say that's it, but there's a lot of stitching because of down here. It's very full and dense. But that's where I'm at with Under the Sea. It is my oldest project. I did start it in January of 2017. No, it's not. It's my second oldest project. It's my oldest non-full coverage project. My oldest project is Frodo and Galadriel. I started that in 2016. Okay. I feel like I'm just tossing it. Okay, because that's what I'm doing. last project to show you. This is Treasure Hunt Bookshelf, Supersize Max Color, artwork by Amy Stewart, and Shrouded by Heaven and Earth design. So, yep. I guess I should have said, if you are one of the people who like to guess what I'm stitching on, which I completely love. I love all the guesses. I pretty much laugh out loud every single time. What was I saying about that? Oh, I should have said before I showed you the artwork, not to look at the artwork too closely if you didn't want to know what I was stitching on. But I didn't tell you that. Anyway, in the last month, I've put in 14,083 stitches. So we're now at 48.41%. I am still on track to hit 50% in like early October and to have this whole shelf, the second shelf, finished by the end of October. Because I'm going to a retreat in the beginning of November. Oh, I need to remember. Where's my notes? If I don't write this down, I won't remember. Okay. I'm going to my first retreat, like the first weekend in November. So I really, really, really wanted to have that first, well, the second shelf, the one that I'm working on currently, completely finished. And then it'll have shelves 1 and 2 to finish, and I can like show it off super timidly because it's kind of scary to do something like that. Anyway, 14,000 stitches since last time you saw it. Here we are. Let me hold it back here. Okay, I have zero idea where I was a month ago because I didn't look that hard. But we've got the castle and its fireworks with the dragon. I don't think I had that finished yet. So we've got the dragon with his tail like all coming down here. Super cool looking. I love it. I love how the light from the windows just like glows out. And then I came over and I'm working on this section. I was asked on Instagram how I choose my sections because when I was working over like the rest of it, I basically was taking like a book and that was a section. But here, because there's an object that spans these 3 books, I decided to stitch all 3 books and its object as one scene. So that's what I'm doing, and you can tell I'm not doing it in my same like diagonal, and that was, well, diagonal. I would pick my colors from the diagonal, but then cross-country stitch it out until that thread ended or I ran out of stitches to do, and then I would go back and pick another color. Now, the only reason I wasn't doing that is because I desperately needed simplicity, and so one way that I could simplify this was to just like color complete, to not have to hunt through my threads and pull out. Sounds an awful lot like Queen of the Night, actually. I just needed to not like be searching and pulling out different threads like all the time. So I got in the shadows, and that basically has allowed me to get anywhere I needed to go. So this book isn't totally done. Down here there's some stitches, but it's really close. You can see that this is also pretty close. These have very different colors, so it's not super close. And then I will come down and do this. But most of these colors are not in the rest of it, so I knew I was safe to do that. And then there's going to be one seam and then one more seam. So somewhere in this seam I'll hit 50%, but I won't finish this shelf. It's something like 52%. So that is where the end of the second shelf is. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Okay. So, I am a moderator for a new Facebook group called One Skein at a Time, or Skein, One Skein at a Time. However you feel like saying it, I'm not judging because I say it both ways depending on my mood. I think I usually say skein though. This is completely unimportant. Okay, so this group, it's the idea of Alara. So if you watched Alara's last video, you have already heard about this. Or if you have watched Megan at Stitchy Moon's, her last video, you also would have heard about this. So here is another spiel about it. So the idea is that Alara paired stitching and a weight loss goal that she has, and she decided to work towards being able to purchase a chatelaine and using all the different components of a chatelaine as her rewards for losing weight. And so you can go see her video if you want to hear more about it, or you can pop over to the Facebook group, One Skein at a Time. We'll get it into the description box below. There are questions to answer just so we can cut down on like bots and people that we don't want in there. So please, please, please answer those questions so that you can get in the group. And let's see. Well, I haven't actually formally introduced myself in that group. I should probably do that. So, there's 4 of us, kind of, I guess, moderating. Well, Alara's running it. Alara, no pressure, you're running it. But then Megan at Stitchy Moon, myself, and Alara's friend Kristen, we are helping Alara, like, run the group. I don't know what to say. This is weird. This is weird to talk about. So, so if you have any interest in a support within the stitching community to make changes in your life to better your health and wellness, no matter what area it is, join us. It doesn't have to just be weight loss. You can not even have a focus on weight loss, whether or not you feel like you want to lose weight. It could be something completely different. But the idea is to pair stitching and health together and just be able to support each other in that journey. So come join us. We're brand new and still like kind of getting things started, but there's some good chatter over there already and people just like jumping in and introducing themselves and giving some great encouragement. So feel free to join us there. I wanted to give out some quick little shout outs from, I feel like I have a lot of like Instagram stitchy friends who recently started Flosstube videos or channels, and I'm so happy for them and I love them, and of course I like subscribed and have watched their videos already. First is Alicia, Adventures of Stitching. I might have already mentioned her channel because she started sometime in the summer, like June or July, but I don't have a brain really, so yeah, Alicia, Adventures of Stitching. And then there is Holly. She is My Daily Haze. And she shows, well, besides her projects, okay, she shows pictures and video of like the area where she lives, and I love it. I so love it. I love kind of the English countryside, picturesque views, and she has it like out her back door practically. It is beautiful. So she shares pictures at the ends of her videos of that, and I just sit there after watching it and I'm like, it speaks peace to my soul. So who else? Kaelyn, who I've shown my Nomi's project. It's been a while, but Kaelyn Cruff on Instagram. Her Flosstube channel is Kaelyn Tent Stitch. So she has a video up and she shows all of her projects and kind of talks about her like dive into cross stitch. She went deep, y'all. I love it. She has a lot of unconventional cross stitch patterns, but she also does a lot of patterns that she converts herself. Like she gets the permission from artists to do their artwork, to convert her artwork for personal use. And she also has a project that is like 2 million stitches on its own. So if you love ginormous stitching, go check Kaelyn out. She also has a web shop, the sewingshop.ca, where she sells, she has some patterns on there, but she also does project bags, and she hand dyes fabric that is super fabulous. And when I have a project that I'm buying a pattern for that needs a hand-dyed fabric, I am totally going to look towards her because I love what she does. I just love what she does. Then, the newest Flosstuber of my Instagram stitchy friends to join the ranks, this is a very convoluted sentence and I really need to stop it right now. The most recent, her name is Angie. Angie Slowly Crafts. And she's cute. Well, I actually technically still have 5 minutes of her first Flosstube to watch. I ran out of time this morning when I was watching. I ran out of time, but leaving 5 minutes of a Flosstube video is like leaving 2 stitches to make like a nice round even number that Pattern Keeper shows you. So, but I literally ran out of time and I had to go right then and I couldn't finish her video. But she's so chill, and she goes off just kind of like I do, and I love it. I just felt right at home. Like we could literally be sitting across from each other, her with her video and me with this video, because I am particularly like everywhere, I feel like. So go check those ladies out. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody who is like super new that like we're chatting all the time. I hope not, but if I am, I'll get to you. So, the last cross-stitch related thing is that in my last video, I talked about decluttering and how I had all of these things to find new homes for. And first of all, like the response of everybody who either related to decluttering or felt inspired to go declutter was phenomenal. Like, you guys are rock stars. I hope you know that. Like, go be a rock star. Yeah. So, okay. So I compiled all the information, and I don't really want to blather on about the process because it doesn't matter. But I compiled all the information of who wanted what things, and then I random number generated people. And then I wrote them all down. So, here's the people and what they're getting. Kimberly Boswell, you are getting Girl with Cosmos. Alara? Yes, Alara, you showed this one, a finished piece on your last video. I think it was your aunt who did it, or your mom, but you didn't know where it was from. Right here. Anyway, Kimberly Boswell, you're getting Girl with Cosmos, and let me find it because I didn't sort these, of course, and State Flowers. Okay, Stitches of Sass, Birth Sampler, and where is it? This one, Proverbs 31 Sampler. Those are going to you. And she was so cute on my last video. Like, there was a bit of a problem in the upload. Like, it was super slow getting the last little bit of the upload done. And so she was like, hi! There's a couple of you who are like, there's problems, help me out. Like, I don't want to miss your video. You guys are cute. Amy Louise, you are getting the Renaissance Sampler. And where is it? The Lord's Prayer. Blushing Pink Stitches. You are getting Passion Flower Angel. I just have super fond memories of stitching this one for my friend. Alara. Very fitting. You're getting Once Upon a Time. Owl and Gator Stitcher, you're getting The Porch Swing by Paula Vaughn and The Ocean. Now I have piles everywhere because I'm separating these out. Victoria R. I'm confused. Oh, no, I don't think I am. Okay, Victoria R., you have the Herbal Kitchen. I probably am confused. Let's be real about that. Millie's Market Bag. And Victoria Bags. Or Victory Bags. I don't know why I read that as Victoria. It's definitely Victory. And Shannon, Notice Time? No testing? Notes Time? I could go on, but I'm pretty certain they'd all be wrong. Petunia, you are getting Petunia and the Route 66 skirts. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of you. So, the best way to contact me is a direct message on Instagram. Okay? So, please, if you have Instagram, message me through there so that I can get your address so that we can work out all the details so I can get you these. If you don't have an Instagram, you can email me and I will delve into the black hole that is my email to look out for it. So I will leave that in the comment box below so that you can message me somehow. Yes. Okay. I really want some time to show like my Heaven and Earth Designs wish list and my 1, 2, 3 stitch wish list just for fun, but I didn't prep that for this video, so that would be a bad idea for me to try to like just throw that in here. But that is all. That's all my like stitching specific. We're about to hit like story time. And story time will probably also lead into like my future cross-stitching plan. Oh, I forgot something. I have one thing that I bought that's arrived. That sounds really weird. I'm not waiting for things. I've not been purchasing like anything. But I bought a Lowry stand. Ta-da! It's right here. I don't really want to pull it out, but I got one, and it's right here. So, I'm going to tell stories now and talk about life, and as part of that, I will probably talk about my future stitching expectations. So, I'm settling in, you guys. I'm settling in. Okay. So it's been a month since I recorded. I intended it to only be like 3 weeks. I said that in the last video, is that I was going to be gone in 2 weeks at the beach, and so I would film in 3 weeks, which would have been last week. And then more things happened and it didn't happen. So here I am over a week later, and I feel like my filming schedule now is like all kilter because I have 2 YouTube channels, okay? And so I like to film every other week. And that's doesn't often happen for my other channel, honestly, yet. But now the last couple weeks have kind of thrown everything off kilter, and I feel stressed because now I have like what I had been planning my scheduled topics to be on the my other channel. We're now like 2 weeks, 2 videos behind, and so now I'm having to shift a whole bunch of stuff, I feel like, and it shouldn't be a big deal, but in my brain it's a big deal because everything just feels like a big deal right now, whether it is or it isn't. So 2 weeks ago I was at the beach. Kaelyn, my daughter, and I, we went. We go basically every year down to North Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. It's about a 5-hour drive for me, and we go with my parents and usually my oldest sister's family. So, so Kaelyn gets to see her cousins, and it's fun. Sometimes other family can join us too, but usually it's just kind of those 3 family units. And we go down and we spend a week at the beach, and we have fun. So we get there on Monday. Monday was the day that we drove down, got all checked in. My parents have a timeshare, so there's a couple different resorts that we go to. It's really nice because you just walk across. It's a very short walk and you're on the beach. Like, you can get beach view rooms at this resort, but it's right off the beach. So we have our own like private boardwalk and stuff. And then there's also pools and lazy rivers, hot tubs at the resort as well. Excuse me. So, Monday is like driving in, check-in, settling, getting food because, like going to the grocery store, all of that stuff. So Tuesday, I took 3 of the girls down to the beach. So my daughter and 2 of her cousins. We went down to the beach, and like I was sitting there with like our stuff. Like, we didn't have a ton of stuff, but like, you know, you have shoes, and I was there. I had a book, I had my phone, like, and I don't like leaving personal things unattended. And there was going to be other adults later, but there wasn't yet. So I was sitting on the sand, well, on the beach towel. Anyway, it doesn't matter. These details don't matter, and yet I'm just telling a story, and so of course everything matters. Like my brain is saying, tell everything. And the girls are out there in the water, and they've come back and they've gone out, and I don't even know how long we were out there. 30, maybe 45 minutes. But it wasn't very long when all of a sudden, and by this time, my brother-in-law and my youngest nephew, or the only nephew who was there, he's also not the youngest nephew, so I don't even know why I would say that. Anyway, so my nephew, they were down and were in the water. My nephew is he 2 now? I think no, he turns 2 this. He turns 2 this year. Anyway, he shares a birthday with Kaelyn. Or is he already 2 when he turns 3? Why don't I know this information? I'm such a terrible aunt. It's also not relevant to the story. So I'm sitting there and I was reading, and all of a sudden I hear my daughter like yelling as she's approaching. And this is not normal for her, like ever in her lifetime. So I knew something was going on. And she comes and she's like, we have to go now. I can't be down here anymore. We need to go back up to the room. And she's like spewing nonstop talking. And like I could tell in all of her body language and in her voice that there was something really not wrong or right. And she gets there and she's like welted up on her arms and her legs. As it turns out, she got massacred by jellyfish. That's what we're calling it. We've been going for years and years, and this is the first time any one of us has gotten like stung by a jellyfish. So that was exciting. One of my nieces also got stung by a jellyfish. It was like a small spot on her leg. And she didn't welt up like Kaelyn did. But she must have been on the outskirts, and Kaelyn somehow got in the midst of a group of jellyfish. It had to have been a group because it was like, we might put in pictures if Kaelyn is okay with it. Oh, and I also showed pictures on my Instagram somewhere, but you'd have to scroll back quite a bit, a couple weeks, right? If you wanted to see them. Anyway, so like her legs, both of her legs got it. not just down by her ankles, but also like all the way up. Not everywhere on her legs were covered, but there were spots like in the front and in the back on her legs. One of her right like ankle and shin bone area was just covered with welts. Both of her wrists and her left hand, also got stung by jellyfish. One was really cool because it like wrapped around, and so you could kind of see the spiral. That one was kind of cool, especially once the welting got down and you could see the individual dots. But she welts up with jellyfish stings like I welt up with mosquito bites. So it was kind of like really scary because none of us had been stung by jellyfish, and I've never seen her react in this way about anything before. But she was in a lot of pain and just like didn't know what was going on, right? And so she had come back to me like, we just need to go, like everything's wrong, I'm freaking out. And like she knew she was freaking out, and so she would even tell me in all of these words that she was spewing, like, I know I'm freaking out, like I need to calm down, I know I need to calm down, I'm trying to calm down. And I'm like, it's okay, like, okay. So so I took the girls back up to the room, and we got settled with taking care of jellyfish stings, and my mom talked to the resort like front desk people to let them know that there was an incident, like, and they said they didn't have anywhere that they needed to report, like that area doesn't have like a, I don't know, jellyfish report hotline, but they were really grateful to know that it happened, so that if other guests asked, they could say like there was this incident. They asked if there was anything they could do, and we did notice that that day and the next day, I think they did it that day too, but the lifeguards were still there. And so on the lifeguard stand for that stretch of the beach, they hung out the purple flag, which stands for like active marine life or something like that. So we also took a picture of my daughter, like, look, it's a purple flag because of her jellyfish stings. So my mom called the front desk and talked to them. My dad went to the grocery store or the pharmacy. I don't know where he went. He came back with like hydrocortisone cream because she was like really, really itchy too. So anyway, we took care of the jellyfish stings, and so Tuesday she was just, you know, after all of that, and that was in the morning, it was Tuesday morning, and so the rest of that day she was just like needing a lot of downtime, low energy, and I was like, I'm so sorry, Kaelyn. And then the next day, Wednesday, she had a little bit more energy, but still low. It didn't feel great to, like, hot water hurt, but like the pool water was okay. So as long as she didn't go in the hot tub, like, she felt more okay. What else? She could walk a little bit, so we went to an art museum. It's a cool little art museum. A guy, I don't know who, some guy donated a bunch of money to this art museum, so they're able to operate with free admission. So you can donate if you'd like, but admission is free. This is the second time we've gone, and their exhibit was Frida Kahlo. Well, actually, it was an exhibit about Frida Kahlo. It was a tribute to her, and she's very iconic. I think a lot of you probably know who I'm talking about, but but she's that Mexican artist who does a lot with like nature. It was really interesting learning a little bit about her life and how she got into art as a, I think, teenager or young adult. I can't remember. But kind of early on in her life, she was in a tragic accident and had a very, very long recovery. And as part of that recovery, she turned to art. She turned to painting, which she had some previous experience in, but really turned to her painting at that point, and it really aided in her recovery. So this whole exhibit was art by different people and a bunch of different mediums. I took a few pictures of some of the, like, I took a few pictures, and I don't totally remember everything. I just remember I took one in particular that was, it's a really cool frame, and then they used different, kind of like Scrabble tiles, or like, no, this one wasn't even Scrabble tiles, but they spelled Frida on the frame, but like each letter was done in some different, you'll see. We'll put the picture up. You'll see what I'm talking about. There was one painting of a guy who did a self-portrait with Frida, and he's like a farmer, so they're like in a cornfield, and he's there with his like t-shirt and overalls next to Frida. There were some that were really dark, like a couple, it was like a deer with like arrows sticking in it and like limbs off of it. It was dark. Anyway, the whole exhibit was just really cool to see. So we did that, and then we went and walked a fishing pier and got to see sharks swimming down in the water. Also cool. I mean, the rest of the time, we mostly went to the beach and went to the pool, played games. My daughter came up with an Uno variation that allowed the girls, to like endlessly play, but also be able to stop at any point. Because quite often there's a lot of times when you're just waiting for all the people to be ready, or enough of the people, or whatever. Sometimes there's a lot of like hurry up and wait, right? So there was a lot of this like Uno variation getting played. And then on Saturday was checkout day, and we had to get up we left at 5 a.m., my daughter and I, because she had a lunch thing with her youth group that she really, really, really wanted to go to, and had been working all summer to being able to go. So that's where we went on a Saturday. We got up at 5 in order to drive back for her to get there in time. And then it turns out I didn't need to go that early. I could have left at like 6 or even 7. There wasn't traffic in certain spots that I thought that there might be, and her youth group was like an hour late. So we got there 45 minutes early, and they got there an hour late. So there was like almost a 2-hour time span where we were just chilling. I mean, we obviously had things to do, but anyway. So that was the beach. And that was 1 week of adventure. And so then we came back. We got back on Saturday, and on Sunday especially, both of us were feeling like we were starting to get a little bit sick. She and I have really, really good immune systems, but at the beach, one of my nieces shared a room with Kaelyn the whole week, and she had a cold. And she kept sharing my water bottle. So I would be looking for my water bottle and would find it with them. So it really kind of is no wonder that we caught her cold, which would have been okay, except on Monday, Kaelyn had, these are like stories about Kaelyn, right? The Adventures of Kaelyn should be the title of this Flosstube video. So, and that's where this cough is. It's lingering from that cold is why I still have this cough. For the most part, we're both feeling better, but this cough is lingering. So on Monday, so we've gone to the beach, and then Monday, which was a week and a half ago now, Kaelyn had a tooth thing. She doesn't like it being called a surgery or a procedure. A tooth thing. So there's some funny story here about me, but I will tell you first about her. So her surgery was her 12-year-old molars on the bottom were stuck, and her orthodontist and her dentist, like, they've been watching these for a year now, a year and a half, seeing what would happen. But it was getting to the point where it was pretty obvious that they weren't going to get unstuck, and the roots were going to start to, like, form, you know, what has teeth do, right? So, visual aid. If this is her, are they 10-year-old molars, the first set, and her 12-year-old molar, they were stuck like this. They could not upright because they were stuck here, and her jaw bone and her wisdom teeth were back here. This could not upright. It was stuck here and stuck on the back side, on both of them. So she had to get the teeth surgically uprighted, which involved taking out the wisdom teeth on the bottom, which is nice because now she doesn't have to get them taken out later. She does have one more, this one. She has one more wisdom tooth on the top. I think it's this side. It could be this side. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So she'll have to get that one taken out at a later date, but 2 out of her 3 are out. There was a chance that they were going to have to cut away some of her jaw bone, but they didn't have to do that. They were able to just take out the wisdom teeth, and that allowed enough space for them to upright the 12-year-old molar so that they sit like this. Just barely enough space. One of her left side is really, really tight. And so the recovery on that one is a little bit slower than the recovery on this one. But everything is going well. Healing is going very well. She had a follow-up appointment with the surgeon, and he said everything is looking really good, and so that's good. That's very, very good. So, she's healing. I think her swelling has gone down at this point, too. She might still have a little bit on one side, but not that much, so So luckily her recovery has gone very well. She's not eating everything normal again, but she can't do crunchy foods until next week at least anyway. But she's chewing more and more things. She tried chicken the other day, like a shredded chicken. So definitely getting there. So she is doing well. A lot of you have asked after her, both because of her jellyfish stings and because of her tooth thing. It has been very eventful for her, and she is doing very well. Now my part in hers, there's going to be some of you who totally get what I'm saying, and I kind of want to know if you guys have any tips or tricks about this, but it's possible this is just going to be life for me. So, something that I've noticed has gotten worse for me over the years is a reaction to people's pain. Not necessarily my own, but like other people's. So like if someone gets like a big scrape and it's kind of bleeding and it needs cleaned out because there's gravel in it. I am sorry, I should have put a disclaimer, but we're talking about that kind of stuff now. So things like that, over the years have gotten, like, my reaction to that, not when it happens to me, but when it happens to other people, has gotten like more severe. And I kind of think what I've done some reading that it can be triggered. Like stress can be a factor on that. Not just this is a stressful situation, but the more stress that you're under, the more you might have this reaction. So it would not surprise me that that's the case, because I'm already highly aware that I am healing and dealing with these effects of extreme, like, emotional stress, and I already know that it's been the effects are extensive throughout a lot of part of my life. Anyway, I haven't even told you what happened yet. So at times, I've noticed as the time has gone on that I get this reaction that I haven't shared yet, but you probably already know if you've experienced this. It's gotten worse, meaning my reaction has gotten worse, but also it doesn't take as much to trigger the reaction within me, which is so frustrating to me. So when we went in for the consultation at the oromaxillofacial surgeon's office for this tooth thing, I already knew what was going to happen because her orthodontist had explained it to me. They were the ones who referred us, and they're the ones who said, like, this is what's going on, this is what we want to have happen, this is what they could have to do, all of this stuff. I already knew all of those things. But we're sitting there, we're talking with the doctor. I've heard all of these things before. There's like no needle, there's no pain, there's no blood, there's like nothing. We're literally just talking. And towards the end of the visit, all of a sudden I'm like, I am not okay. Like, I was getting lightheaded, the sounds were getting all muffly, the vision was kind of like, it's not there. And the doctor, like, was just finishing up what he was saying, and he left, and the nurse turns around, and she's like, oh, honey, you have no color in your face. And And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm not okay." And I was sitting down, and I was just kind of like, I'm not. Yeah. So she had me switch spots with Kaelyn, and so that I was in like the, the dentist chair. And she laid me down. She put oxygen on me. She got me a juice box that my daughter held so that I could like drink from it while I had oxygen. She monitored my heart rate while I was like laying there. It was special. So she was like, you should not be the one to bring her to her appointment, like to her surgery. I was like, you can't tell me not to be there for my daughter's surgery. But she's like, we can't have 2 patients. Like, we need to only have 1 patient. Like, I was so mad. I was like, you can't stop me from being here for my daughter, especially because I wasn't going to, you have to wait in the lobby anyway during the procedure, obviously. But like, when they give her the, like anesthesia and stuff, you're there for that part, and then you come back afterwards when she's waking up. So I was like, so I had to ask Kaelyn's dad to come with me. And his job was to watch me so that I could be there for Kaelyn. I was prepared. So I was prepared with like some fruit snacks. I forgot a juice box, which would have been the most effective thing. But I still haven't even, I did tell you my reaction. I had fruit snacks and I had like some dried apples. And I brought a little towel blanket thing. So I was prepared. Because who knows? Maybe I would have been fine. Maybe I wasn't going to be fine. I don't know, but I just knew I was going to be there for my daughter. There was no question about that. So we're there, and I'm doing okay. Like, they've got her on, and maybe we'll put in some pictures, a picture of her like before setup. Like they gave her the laughing gas, but there was also like the prep table where they put out all the tools they're going to use, and so I could see that, and I was like, well, let's not look at that table, but like I was okay with it. They had like all the sensors attached to her and everything, and I was like, I'm doing okay. And then they start giving her the IV. And she's never had an IV before. So that was one of the things that made her nervous the night before, was she's like, what does it feel like? And I was like, it just kind of feels like a pinch. But we also knew that they had like a liquid numbing, and she already knew that she wasn't going to really feel it. But I was like, a needle going in, it's just, I mean, like, it really only hurts if they miss and they like are poking around in there. But they're numbing you up, and they shouldn't do that. Like, it doesn't happen all that often. But that was when all of a sudden, it's my babysitter. He's like, Suki, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, nope, no, I'm not fine. Because the lightheaded came, like the sounds all of a sudden got muffled, and the vision was also muffled. It wasn't necessarily like blacking out, like my vision was blacking out. It was more like all of this was fuzzy. This part wasn't necessarily fuzzy, but this was fuzzy. And then like the connection between my senses, like what I was intaking, and my brain being able to process it, was infinitely slow. But luckily at that point, like, it was basically as soon as they got that IV needle in, the doctor was like, okay, she's almost out, you guys can go now. I was like, oh good. And so I was led out to the lobby, and like anytime a door had to be opened or anything, I was like leaning against the wall like, and then we get out there into the lobby, and we're sitting in the chairs, and I'm like, I can't even lean back because this seat isn't big enough, and I'm like, this, yeah, because the chair back was here, and I'm like, yeah, and then I was cold. I was like shivering, and I asked like, why am I so cold? And he's like, you're in shock probably. And so I had to instruct him on like, I've got a blanket, it's in my purse. There's fruit snacks in there too. And apparently, and I was sitting there with my eyes closed, and he like talked to me, asking me questions. He was mostly asking me questions, getting me to talk. Apparently while I was in this state of not aware, really, a nurse came out to make sure that I hadn't actually fainted on them. So that was great. And then at her follow-up appointment, the doctor was like, there is a particular place that needs, she has a mouth rinse, okay, and a syringe so that you can get all the surgical sites with the syringe with this mouth rinse. But there was one particular spot. He's like, let me show you where this is. And it needs to be rinsed out. And so I'm like, okay. And I look in her mouth, and I had not looked in her mouth yet. Like, it had been 8 days since her surgery, and I had not looked in her mouth yet because apparently, I don't know, I guess I no longer do well. I never particularly did well. I was never really suited for a medical profession ever, but now it's even worse. Anyway, so I'm looking there, and he's like, got the syringe, and he's like showing me, and there's like, one side is fine, there's no blood, and it doesn't need any special rinsing, and the other side like has a little bit of blood, and it looks, I'm sure it looks really nice. He said it looked really nice, but I could feel like the beginning stages of like things are going muffly and I'm lightheaded. I don't necessarily get nauseous, but I definitely get like that lightheaded, the sound goes muffled, and the vision, it's not blacking out, but it's fuzzy on the outskirts. I could feel the beginning stages, so I looked long enough to know exactly what he was talking about, and then I stopped looking, hoping that my reaction wouldn't get more extreme. And it didn't, thankfully. But then I was at home later, and I was kind of freaking out at my daughter, like, how am I supposed to rinse your mouth off? Like that's not... So she decided to try it on her own, and did very well at it. So I am very grateful, because I have no idea how I was going to like rinse her mouth off if I have this like syncope reaction. It's ridiculous. So what happens is your blood pressure drops and your heart rate drops, and that's what's happening. Like, but it doesn't, it's not just the extreme situations, or even like, it's not just blood. Like I've been experiencing this just in the conversation. It doesn't even have to take blood. Sometimes in my daughter's orthodontist appointments, when, and I fully expect this to happen soon, because now that those teeth are upright, they want to put bands on, and those are kind of uncomfortable. And I'm going to see the tension in her body, and it's going to like trigger this in me. So that's been my life. Actually, that's not even been all my life. But that's been a large part of my life lately. And it's been something. So the other thing is just that we homeschool. I don't know if I've said that before. I feel like I have, but maybe I haven't. So we homeschool. And this week we just kind of, I don't know, we kind of all the time school because I think of life as learning, and so we are just life learners. But there's times when we're a little bit more focused and times when we're less focused. So we're just kind of focused again right now. And this month we are, some of the countries we're learning at, and this is relevant to anybody who has lasted, how long is this? An hour and 21 minutes in. So if you're still here, I have a question for you, maybe, possibly. It might be relevant and it might not be. So we're learning about, we're reading stories from several different kind of countries. Not just reading stories, but like listening to music and viewing art and things like that from different countries. All the Asian countries, India, the Scandinavian countries, and the South Seas. So like Australia and the Pacific Islands, all of that. It's a lot. It's several countries, right? So we were reading a story today. Yesterday, the story we read, it's called The Snowman. It's a fairy tale story thing from Hans Christian Andersen. And then today we started reading a story about, or from the country of Denmark. And in this story, it like throws in a language I don't know, right? So like it's kind of switching back and forth between here's English and then here's some phrases or like a complete paragraph in Danish. Yes. And there were some like food references that we had to look up. We're like, we don't even know what this is. We looked it up. It looks delicious. I don't even remember what it's called. Smalls bread. If you are from Denmark, I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Anyway, so if you have either visited these countries or lived in any of those countries, okay, so so any of the Asian countries, the Scandinavian countries, the South Seas, and India, okay? So if you have heritage there, any link whatsoever, heritage, visited, currently live there, if you have any cool stories to tell, favorite recipes, maybe favorite artwork, or stitching charts, like designers, any connection whatsoever, please share them with me. You can either leave them as a comment or like message me on Facebook, not Facebook, Instagram. I mean, if you know me on Facebook, you are welcome to do that, but Instagram is what I meant. Because I would love to hear some of those like personal memories or personal connections or like pictures or whatever it is. I would just love to hear it and then share them with Kaelyn as we're learning about this month. If you're not from those countries, no worries. Sometime over the next like 10 months, I'll get you, okay? I promise. Yeah. So, I think that's everything. I hope that's everything because this is long. I knew it would be because This is life. This is crazy. Oh, it's not everything, because I didn't tell you about my future plans. Okay, so now that I've told you about what life has been like, you'll probably understand when I say, like, I needed simplification. And like, I haven't even talked about my sleep. It doesn't matter. I don't need to talk about my sleep right now. Okay, so I just really needed simplification. And stitching, what's kind of thrown me for a loop is that for the past couple of years, stitching has been that thing that I needed. But then I could tell, kind of in like early August, like the first half of August, I could kind of tell I was, like, there was a shifting that was happening. There was kind of this internal rearranging. And I knew that I was ready and able to tackle some of these other things that I really needed to be tackling when it comes to, like, my health and wellness, but also, like, homeschooling, right? So I needed simplicity, and stitching was an area in which I was feeling that. I don't want to set it aside, not at all. But I was realizing that what I had been okay with before was not okay right now. So I have scroll rods. I have one set of scroll rods, and it has my treasure hunt bookshelf on it. So that one's going to remain like a daily piece for me. And then I technically have 2 Q snaps, but my daughter's using one of them, so I really only have one. And I had been using that Q snap to switch in and out of projects, which was fine for a while until it wasn't fine, and I needed to eliminate even that much. So my current operations are 3 projects. Treasure hunt bookshelf. It's daily. I do a minimum of 600 stitches on my treasure hunt bookshelf. The second is on my Q snap, and it lives right here on my Lowry stand. And that is Under the Sea. This is not coming off until it is finished, which really isn't that far. But I also haven't touched it in almost a week. I just don't have enough time right now. I'm so busy, which is so weird because not that long ago, I was so not busy. Like, I was saying no to so much, and I had all of this time to stitch. And now I am ready to say yes to these things that are very vital for me to have focus on. And it just means I'm still trying to learn what that means with stitching. Anyway, so my bookshelf, Under the Sea, and my little stitching, which now that I finished June, I'm moving on to July, which is corn, a stalk of corn. There we go. She's holding a puppy. It's so, so cute. And I don't even know where I am on this. I haven't pulled it out yet. I prepared my floss card, though. It's got a lot of colors. A lot more than the other ones have. Oh. I got really far on this. So, it looks like I got the cream of her shirt in and on the flowers, even. So, I think I must have gotten all of that brown done, all of the green, and maybe all of the cream. Yeah. Yep, it looks like I got all the cream. So that's actually pretty far, because I've only worked on this one day, the one day in Mania that I started it. So I did really good. So that's 3 projects. And that's all I can do right now. But it does mean that they all get like really decent project progress on each of those like projects, except obviously this one. I haven't been able to give this one a lot of time, but it is able to like just sit here. And so when I am able to stitch on it, it's very easy for me to just sit down and I can start stitching. So, an hour and a half. That's all I need to talk about today. Maybe next time we'll cover sleep, and maybe maybe I'll have to do more Flosstube extras to do my wish lists. And I have really been missing doing Stitch With Me's. Like, I love doing those live, but I haven't been able to do them for several months now, but I've been missing them. And I don't know if that's something I can even figure out sticking back in or not. I guess it's too much to do. And I kind of love it, but it just means I haven't figured out where all the other pieces go yet. I don't know where all the pieces of anything goes yet. So, thanks for sticking with me and coming to this, I don't know, full-length feature film of my Flosstube channel. And I will catch y'all next time. Much love to you. Bye.